is that some of the services you use haven't been working, so we need to sort that out. And that's just the nature of the beast. Last week it was NBN problems, and this week it is Restream, I think, multi-streaming. So hello, my name's Laurel Papworth. I'm a social media lecturer, a facilitator, workshop, tutorial person. And I'm streaming live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter/Periscope until they finish that up in March, and also YouTube. This is specifically for my students. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate the feedback. And I will be referencing some things like sheets that they have to fill in or homework they have to do. And that's both the corporate students and also my higher education, adult education students. So just ignore that. If that's not you, you'll figure it out. This is not a specific thing for a university course or some other kind of course I'm running. It's just a tutorial specifically on local government, ministers of parliament, those that have multiple audiences, like federal ministers have everyone audiences, or national strategy, comms, but they also have local issues, so they have multiple audiences, geofenced and things like that. I'm going to be using Facebook and Instagram primarily because it's the most transparent and the most advanced. If you look at Twitter and things like that, they're not very advanced. And so whatever you see me talking about on Facebook, you can then take to LinkedIn and Twitter, and to a certain extent also particularly audience building on YouTube. If you have any questions, please let me know during the live. Otherwise, let's get on with it. So the first thing I want to do is we're going to talk about, I'll bring this up on the screen for you to see, how Facebook views or connects to audiences. Let me bring it up here. You can see me. Good. Not sure I like this little cable, but there you go. Okay, so on Facebook, when you're on a business page, and you can tell it's my business page because it's got a red background, everything else has a white background. I do that deliberately so that I can step in between being professional and being me, unprofessional. And so this is my business page. Now, when I'm on my business page, if I go to, sorry, not that one, it's my bookmarks. We've got a new page coming out, the one that hides likes. It doesn't tell people how many likes there are, and they've moved all the menus around. I get used to one and then I have to switch backwards and forwards. This particular page, look, it's my excuse, okay, but this particular page is ancient. It was one of the very first business pages, so there's a lot of really old stuff on there. One of the things you'll see on here is that there is still a menu called preferred audience. So what channels do, what algorithms do, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn with their economic graph, YouTube, whoever, they look at your channel and they choose a preferred page audience if you don't choose it. So you used to be able to go in here and you used to be able to set who your page was for. So I could say, oh, it's for people who live in North Sydney because I'm the local politician for North Sydney or Wollongong or wherever. Or the page is for the whole of Australia, but it's focusing on education because I'm the minister or shadow minister or whatever for education. And we can't do that now. We have to do it through behaviours. We can't do it in a declarative way. You can, however, I believe, yes, you can identify it as being only for us, the whole of Australia, not North Sydney, but the whole of Australia. Or you can say, hey, it's a vodka page, it's for over 18. But just remember, the first thing you have to remember is that your channel is massaged for your audience. And this is the first issue that I run into when I'm working with politicians and local gov, is that they're a hall of brands. They have all kinds of targeted audiences. So if you're running 2 audiences on your page, and I'm just going to pick 2 because I know there's more, and one is mums and dads, but mums with kids at school who are interested in school and education and all those kind of things. And then you have another audience which you've identified as being senior citizens that live perhaps pension check to pension check. And I'll explain how they all fall into the algorithm later in the lecture. It's a long lecture, by the way. Just be aware of that. Oh, it's a standard lecture. It's not a standard YouTube video. Let's not even go into that. So what I would suggest is that you mark out all of your audiences and then think about which channel, which you might have 2 Facebook pages and an Instagram account and a LinkedIn for your small business section or whatever it is. But you want to set up different audiences for that, okay? So once you've defined your preferred audience for your page, that's the first audience that I want to talk about. You kind of want to make sure you keep reinforcing for that particular page or group or Twitter account or whatever it is you're doing. You want to keep focusing it on that audience. That is your what the algorithm calls core audience as well. Preferred page is for the whole of the channel. Core can be split across channel and ads and posts and different things. If you're getting confused, and I don't blame you, I don't care if you're a marketing student or a law student or what you are, this stuff is quite involved. I want you to think about the preferred audience, the channel audience, as being for the channel audience is like a magazine subscription. So you would say, a luxury travel magazine is for cashed up retirees, and the Lonely Planet magazine is for cash-strapped backpackers, 18 to 28, I don't know, digital nomads. Of course, it's not only those, but you need different channels to talk to your different audiences, even if it's the same product or service. So yeah, preferred page is gone, which is so annoying but they only used to listen to it for the first 30 days. And if you muddied the waters by talking to too many audiences on your page, the algorithm decided what your preferred page audience was. So you only had the first 30 days anyway to really nut it out. And then from then on, you have to do the kind of things I'm going to be talking to you about. So the first thing I'm going to suggest you do is really do some deep research into the psychographics, and don't call them families, retirees, small business. It's just not. That's mainstream media. You need to get into a much more in-depth psychographic, and I'll show you the kind of tools that the platforms use. Can you see that? Goody. Let me make it a little bit bigger for you. I might move me out of the way. You know what I look like. That one. Cool. All right. So what we have here is we have a bunch of, these are budget retirees. Tenderly care for their well-loved homes and cars and enjoy the simple things in life because they can't afford the rest, I would say. That's 5% of the population, and this is from data. This is not from calling people up and doing declarative surveys. This is from data. So they're pulling in credit cards. This third-party partner of Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn is called Quantium. I think they're owned by Woolworths, or definitely Woolworths are very connected to them. These budget retirees enjoy the simple things in life. Okay. They like promotions and clearances. In other words, they're part of the coupon community or one of the psychographics of the coupon community. They're proud of their well-loved homes. They like small pets. They're low maintenance. I've got cockroaches. They're low maintenance. Everybody has in Sydney, I think. And they feel no need to catch up with the latest technology. Remember that. Preferring to read the morning newspaper, and their morning newspaper, ladies and gentlemen, will not come as a surprise to you, is News Corp. Yeah, I'm in the way again. News Corp. So this is where they use their credit cards and FPOS cards, loyalty cards, in whatever way can be tracked. So they shop at Aldi, not at some organic, expensive, section of a supermarket, boutique supermarket, but at Aldi, at Lowe's, and at Miller's. If you're watching this from America, hello. Saw your interesting political situation this morning. For those of you that are wondering, it's the 14th of January here in Australia, 13th in America. So look it up, 2021. If you're in the future, how's COVID? If you are in America, Lowe's and Miller's are probably not there, but think Walmart-y type of clothing companies, or Ross's or something like that. So we know that because that's how they use their credit card. Now, what other information does the credit card show? Not just credit cards, but whatever else is going on. Well, first of all, this particular group are heavy cigarette smokers. So they're prudent nostalgia, retirees, and they smoke a lot of cigarettes. Again, if you're in America, you need to be aware cigarettes in Australia are extremely expensive. Maybe American dollars, $25 to $30 a pack. I'm not sure how much ciggies cost today. Never been really much of a smoker myself, but I'm sure somebody out there can tell me. Twitter, yes, this is live. A1, this is live. Hi, welcome. They don't spend much money on fast food. They do shop at budget, and they do donate to health charities, but not much to humanitarian charities. They're morning newspaper readers, and they're PC enthusiasts, but they don't buy Apple, probably because it's too expensive. And you can go through lots and lots of these. And what's helpful with this is, in a moment, I'm going to show you how to actually set up a saved audiences, different kinds of audiences on the platforms. And when you have this kind of data, not just that they're retired and they live in the area, but where they shop, what they're interested in, what TV shows they watch, that they buy, blah blah brand of what am I trying to say? Nutrition products or something like that. Then that gives you a hook into how to build your audiences. Before we go on to that, and we're going to be doing that in a moment, and I'm aware that when I'm lecturing, that people like to play on their phone at the same time, or communicate about important issues with their peers at the same time. And I don't have an issue with that, but what I recommend is if you hear something that's important to you, note the time, because that way you can, and in fact, if you could put it in the comments, that'll be awesome. We can together put up some kind of, quickly click here to go to this particular section. But before we go on to the actual audiences section, like saving the audiences on platforms, I want you to have a look at a couple of other things. Yes, this is also on YouTube, and if you look up Laurel Papworth or Silk Charm, you will usually find one of my channels on one of the platforms, and it is streaming live at the moment, A1, to LinkedIn, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, and Facebooks. Or should be, I don't know, fell over last time, Facebook. Anyway, we have Provincial Wealth. These are tree change people. After spending their lives working hard, these retirees have settled into a variety of hobbies in their own beautiful rural homes. So what I'm going to suggest to you here is that rather than thinking, oh, retirees are all the same, start splitting them up. We just went through prudent nostalgia, which are living pension check to pension check, shopping with discounts and coupons. They don't buy Apple stuff. They'll buy cheaper PCs. And then the next one is provincial wealthy, who have moved to the country. They've done a sea change, a tree change. Smart townies are the reverse of this. So people who've retired from the countryside and moved to the city downsize, and they want to do courses and go to the theatre. They may not have a huge amount of disposable income, but they are more interested in kind of what's going on in the city. Provincial wealthy have moved back out of the city and they've moved to the country, and they often have more disposable income because they've cashed out their large house. In fact, if we look at the house sizes, let's get you above my head, yep, then we can see they no longer have the large house. They've moved into medium-sized houses. And if we go to the other one, which I think is Golden Days, a different type of retiree again, retired professionals, often still on the board of companies and things like that. They've completely downsized, or they've still got their large house. So behaviors change dramatically. Even within one demographic, you have to know your psychographic. These particular sheets I'm showing you are the ones that Facebook Australia refers to as their third-party partners. If you're overseas, by all means, have a look at Axiom, Epsilon, Datalogic. Some of them have changed their name. Some of them have been bought by Oracle and Salesforce and things like that. But everybody is in the big data game. Everybody's in the big data warehousing game, looking at how credit cards are being used and loyalty cards. Creating profiles from that is how any of the politicians that you see at the moment that are successful are getting ahead. They're playing the algorithm game, and we're going to do that as well. A1, yes, absolutely. Watch this in a time that is suitable for you. Hi, Katrina. Thank you. Actually, you guys don't know what I'm talking about. Let me put it up here. Katrina, came across you yesterday. Okay, on Facebook or somewhere else? And then Stephen, where are you from? I'm outside of Sydney in the Blue Mountains, and we are the last street in the last village of the Greater Sydney area, which is currently in lockdown. So if you were to go a few streets the other way, they're not in lockdown, but we are. Hence me playing on the live streams for your fun and amusement. My fun and amusement, your education. Maybe not. Okay, so we understand that every channel, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, has a preferred audience. We understand that there's a lot of data coming in. Have a look at the census, have a look at the local council data, have a look at the Quantium and Axiom and Epsilons and all their data, the third-party partner data that the platforms use. And then when we go to Facebook, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the Ads Manager and we're going to create some audiences. And they've been moving this around lately, which is super annoying. But if you go to facebook.com/Ads Manager, I think it takes you back to the main business page. So what you might want to do is business.facebook.com/Ads Manager. Look, whatever page you end up on, go to ... the more menu over here, and you can get to 50 million hidden menus down here. And if you think the 50 million is an exaggeration, I defy you. Click on audiences. We're going to talk about the different audiences. We looked at the sheets. Do they smoke or not? Not that you can use smoking anyway. Most of the platforms ban any reference to it as part of building up a profile. They shop at Aldi. They shop at Harvey Norman. They shop at Myer. They shop at David Jones. If you're in America, they shop at Walmart. They shop at JC Penney. They shop at... Oh my goodness, I don't remember any American brands. I miss America. Gap. Something like that. I don't know. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an audience. Now, first of all, I need to point out that there's about 8 different audiences, but you want to think about your audiences as the top 3 are automatically defined. The algorithm creates the audience for you. We'll get into some exceptions and the ways you can play with those later, if we have time. We should have. The saved audience is the manual audience that you create and you save. So as, for instance, a politician, if you are a councillor in, I don't know why I keep saying North Sydney. I guess it's because it's got Sydney in the name. In the North Sydney area, or if you're a Minister of Parliament in the Wollongong area, or if you're anybody, okay. You can create a saved audience and do this manually. So what I do is, let me choose one here, and I'm not going to, I think if I click that one and click edit. So I've created a manual audience, which is a saved audience. I've called her Becca. I just find it easier to remember their names, and I name them after people that I know. Hi, Becca. And she's a young professional. And so what I do is I say, okay, this one's the whole of Australia. She's 22 to 33. She's female. And her education is from 2020 to 2024. And then I can go in and I can choose browse, demographics, financial, income, and I can choose a household income. I know that's... A lot of the stuff for Australia has been removed post data breach privacy issues, and you have to go through third-party platforms, not directly on here. But let's have a look for something that's a bit more useful. Business and industry. Let's say she works in marketing. So Becca studied from 2020 to 2024, and she works in marketing. So as I go through and start to create and save all my audiences, I'm using these sheets where they shop, and I'm using the census, and I'm using local surveys like council surveys or Chamber of Commerce surveys to create these audiences. There's a Blue Mountains one, parenting, and then if I do the Chatswood one, let me just edit that one. We'll get some more information. Interested in abalone, Alibaba, Baidu, Daigou, fish oil, infant formula, Priceline. This all comes from surveys. So I researched for the Chinese psychographic that lives in Australia, and then found out what brands they were most interested in Australia, and then added it in here. What the algorithm will do now, especially if I choose language to being some of the local languages, but I specifically didn't because I'm not translating them. But by putting these in, it means that the algorithm can go and find people in the area that have shown an interest in WeChat, Tmall, Baidu, Daigou, Priceline, Nature's Way, Infant Formula, different things that we know are on top of the list when it comes to social media fans of those products and services. Again, this is data, okay? I don't use guesswork. People tell me they know their audience, and when I look at the data, I'm like, no, actually you don't. So I only use data. What's that saying? In God we trust, in all others bring data. Not my saying, I so wish it was. Once all of these are saved, I can now go into the Creator Studio. Instagram is a new calendar tool. Click here. They always had a oh no, that's right. Some people didn't have it. Let me go into here. got my collections saved. But when I click create a post on my page, what I'll do is, Stephen, you've asked me, are we facing censorship there like we are in America? I'm not sure what you mean. If you mean the social media platforms, yes. I only have to name like 50 of my clients that have run in, sometimes their own fault, into trouble with the platforms. There doesn't seem to be any recourse, any ombudsman to take issues to. So, for instance, if my service is bad with my internet, hi Telstra, I can go to the OIC or TIO, the telecom industry ombudsman. We can't do that for social media. You just have to suck it up. So I think there is an issue there. There's definitely options. But anyway, I've created all my audiences under target audience. And then what I'm going to do, let me move me out of the way here. Maybe we can put me over there. How's that? I'm probably looking in the wrong direction, but it doesn't matter. In this section here, under public, I want to change my post from public and I want to do newsfeed targeting. And the reason I'm using newsfeed targeting is this is a really simple way of going back into your channel and making sure your preferred audience for each page or each Instagram or whatever is the correct one. So I'm going to go in here and I choose, retirees that live in the countryside and shop at, Prudent Nostalgia was, they shop at Aldi, they shop at Woolworths, they buy the Daily Mail Daily Mail do, and the Daily Telegraph, and I list all those kind of things off, and then I can make sure that the post, even if it has nothing to do about media, goes to the people in the area that read that newspaper or watch that TV show or shop at that shop. So this is one way to say to the algorithm, this is the audience I need to talk to about this topic. If you've got a local school, I don't know if there's a North Sydney school. North Sydney Bears? I don't know anything about sports, but I didn't know they were called the Bears. I thought they were North Sydney Rabbits? Whatever. And I can put in particular suburbs and I can do different things here. So this is one way to do targeting. It looks like that the saved audiences will soon be available for newsfeed targeting. So create your audience, create your posts, create your audiences, get ready for that. In the meantime, yes, of course, you can use these for ads. And this one's critical is, if you don't like doing the manual one, which is very limited over here for post targeting, not paid ads, but post targeting, what I recommend you do is go into Ads Manager, and then I'm going to create, I want to create an engagement ad, and I'm going to call this one Boosting Ads Properly. Let me just come out of the way so you can see all this. So what does boosting ads properly mean? It means don't use that little, I don't know if I can do it on my page because I'm streaming, but we'll try. There. Come down here. Most people are probably boosting down here. They click boost post And then they might change a few settings. And then they send the audience off. And this is what I mean by it's coming in, because you can still go into here and change a few things. I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to add your saved audiences in here later on. I prefer to do boosting posts properly. So what I do, don't forget you've got to put your disclaimer in and declare it if you're a politician or doing political government things. I'll just drop this down a bit so I can see a few more things on my page, like the next button. And then I use the saved audience. Pick one of the ones you've already saved and created in the previous part of the lecture. You change a few things here, obviously. And then when we go to the next section, let me go to a page, my page. Where is my page? I think I'm in collections. Sorry. I created collections thinking it would be easier, and it's really not. And then I use existing post. I select the post that I want to boost. I don't know, that one, I suppose. Continue. And now I can put a call to action in and I can boost it. There's a lot more to it than boosting the post from the page itself, from this boosted post. A lot more. But this is about optimizing. This is about not just chucking a few bucks down on a post that's kind of doing okay. This is about optimizing your strategy, teaching the algorithm who the page is for, who each post is for, without having to buy the ads. But if you've mucked it up at all, you may have to put some money on, at least for the 28 days, the MAU, monthly active user. Put some money down so that you are getting your comms out to the right audience at the right time on the right channel, which is really what this is all about anyway. So your boosting through ads is another option. You can either use audiences or you can use, let me put me back over there again. Oops. Clicking on the wrong thing. There we go. And that's those audiences. Right, so what we've done now is we looked at the preferred audience for the page. We looked at how Quantium and Axiom and all those create third-party profiles for the platforms like Twitter and Facebook and bring all that data in, which is then mapped to you. So you know you bought cigarettes last week, you're going to get an ad for something this week. I need to stop using cigarettes. Cigarettes are the one thing you can't target. Not the one thing, one of the few things you can't. Think bigger than the messaging when it comes to those targeted audiences. Don't just think, oh, they're interested in schools, therefore they'll be interested in education. Also think what they're watching on TV or where they're shopping or anything like that, because that's going to help your audience much better. Your targeting much better. Create a studio. You can go in, select a post and do some targeting there on a post-by-post basis. I know I've said this numerous times on numerous lectures, but if you have 2,000 people on your channel, doesn't matter where it is, and only 5 people engage, your optimization drops, your SEO, FBO, SMO, whatever you want to call it, drops, your optimization drops. Your page can't be trusted. There's 2,000 people out there and only 5 people engaged. If you take your 2,000 people and you target and say this specific post is for this specific group and there's only 40 or 50 people in that group and you get engagement from 5 of those people, you're more likely to have your social object picked up and distributed in an optimized way through networks, and then you'll end up with more than 5. So if you're wondering why you've put stuff up online to a largest audience and it's not getting engagement, it doesn't even mean that it's poor content, although it may well be. It could simply be that it's not being optimized, and it got shown to a few people and they didn't engage with it, or not enough did. It went to an everyone audience. It shouldn't have been everyone, and you're going to run into trouble. Again, if you're a federal minister or you have federal mandates and you also have local mandates, so the local people are interested in, I don't know, the parking changed in the main street, or no, that's council. But you know what is it council? It's roads. Who cares? They'll yell at everybody and anyone. But you have a really hyper local issue, and then you have a super federal national issue. The algorithm's not going to be your friend. I don't know what else to say to you. It's just not. So when I'm looking, sorry, I'll just put this up. What did Ivan say? Try North Sydney High School. Yes, exactly. So if you're creating a local area government group, target audience, and you want to reach families with young children, and you know they're a target demographic for certain things and events that you're running, and town halls, Zoom town halls or things like that, then absolutely put in the name of the local schools and things like that, anything that you can get your little hands on. You can do must have children at this school, or must have children at this school and shop at this location, so and or. But that's a detail for another day and another session, so we'll move past that one. Back to here again. So just while you were talking, I just typed in North Sydney Council into the ads library. I was kind of hoping we'd see something interesting here. Page was created on 25th of July 2011. And they've only got 2 admins, so they're not using a big agency or anything like that. So it is what it is. Less than $100 spend since August. When I come down here, I can see that there is an ad. I'm going to show you the target audiences for this ad in a moment, if it works. It ran for 2 days. This ad ran without a disclaimer. I know what's coming. Let's make this bigger. There is absolutely no point in telling North Sydney off. These things are not clear to any of the councils or any of the politicians that I work with. I need to make that smaller. It's not going to work. Unless they're big spenders and have been for a while. This ad ran without a disclaimer. After the ad started running, we determined the ad was about social issues, elections and politics, and required the label. The ad was therefore taken down, and that occurs within 2 days. And you can see that it came down within 2 days. So this is about new infrastructure. It's an ad for Council's draft local infrastructure contributions plan, but it got canned after 2 days. You need 14 days. You need 14 days for the algorithm to optimize. So the ad runs for about 10 to 12 days, and then the algorithm says, okay, I know who likes this ad and who engages with it and who therefore sees it as being important information rather than spam. And so it's optimized for that. So let's see. So it had a potential reach of 100,000 to 500,000. Really? 500,000 people in North Sydney would have met the criteria of the ad? But it reached only 3,000 to 4,000 because it only ran for the 2 days. Who was this? Now, this is the audience. So I'm doing that again, and I'm going through things. So the potential reach for the audience was 100 to 500,000, but it really only reached 3,000 to 4,000 because it got killed off after 2 days instead of 2 weeks, whatever it was they were trying to run it for. Didn't have the disclaimer. Less than $100. The ad was shown to Oh my goodness. All right. I don't want to go on because I don't want to make these guys... This is super common. It's actually really hard for me to find really good targeted council ads. But when 25% of the ad goes to non-voters, 13 to 17-year-olds, and it's about filling in the council's draft local infrastructure plan, I've got to wonder about what's going on there. So anyway, you get the general idea. You can go into ads of the opposition or the incumbents or whatever you call the frenemies across the bench from you, and you can see who they're targeting their ads at, if they're doing it correctly, and the messaging of each ad to each audience. Is it as in-depth as the psychographics that I've just shown you? No, of course not. But as a competitor analysis tool, it's awesome. So sorry, what's that, Ivan? They have only in the 2016 census, there were 67,658 people in North Sydney. Look, the page only has 2 admins, therefore there's no outside agency. The minute you see an outside agency, there's usually another 15 admins because they use Business Manager and then add all of their staff to the Business Manager admin thing. I think that's how the numbers work. And it's... I don't expect them to have done it perfectly, and it was the first ad and it was less than $100 and they were just trying it. So we will give them a break this time around. The last few things I want to talk about are the other kind of audiences, the other type of target audiences. So I just showed you about boosting existing posts and doing it properly, like close. Don't just use the cheap-ass $5 a post option on the page itself. Come into Ads Manager, use your audiences and boost the post to the correct audience. I'm going to go back into audiences now because this is about targeting audiences, not just paid, not just posts, but other kind of audiences as well. And other platforms have the same kind of thing. So we were talking about saved audience, which you can then create manually, save an audience, boost a post to that audience. What is a custom audience? This is a automated audience. What you're saying is, for everybody that visited my website, I've put the Facebook pixel or the Google pixel or the whatever pixel, LinkedIn pixel. They don't call it pixel. What do they call it again? I don't know. I've got a video on it. If you've watched it and you know what I'm talking about, let me know because I forget things so easily. But I can say every time somebody visits my website, I want you to automatically create a kind of like a saved audience for the people that visited the website. Now, typically what I do with my website audiences, I know that, Facebook. I'll just come down here to my custom audience, and what I'll do is I'll just edit that one so you can see what I've done. So the pixel is sitting on my website, and I've said I want to identify people who visited specific pages. Not how long they were on my site for, or my events or anything like that. Events are how often the pixel was triggered. It's not like how many people came to my party or how many people came to my workshop event. It's how many times or how the pixel was triggered an event on the website. Facebook uses the same term over and over again, like the word like is used in multiple different ways, and then the word event is used in multiple different ways. It's so annoying. But these are just Facebook triggers. So what I've done is I've said people who visited specific pages, the URL on my website had a join us, and But I also wanted to say it must also match that the URL did not contain thank you, meaning they were going to sign up for the council online town hall or the minister's AMA, Ask Me Anything on Zoom or whatever it is. And they got to the join up page, but they didn't complete. They didn't get to the thank you page. And I want to create an audience for them because I want to send a boosted post or I want to send an ad or something to say, hey, next week we're running an Ask Me Anything. Don't send them an ad which says you forgot to sign up. Why didn't you sign up? That's too much like being stalked. Just send them the reminder without saying reminder in it, okay? So that's an automated audience. So when you create these kind of custom audiences, they're automatically created. They're created from the website visit. If you've ever looked at holiday in Hawaii, Anyway, if you ever looked at a holiday like that, then what you'll notice is that for the next, it can be between 30 days and 90 days, depending on the pixel and depending on what their settings are, you will continue to get ads for that service and similar. A customer list is where you can upload the email addresses of your email list. Politicians, I mean, I should be saying small business as well, but they do whatever they want. But politicians in particular, make sure the terms and conditions for when they sign up for your email newsletter state that you may be approaching them on other forums and other channels, just so that it's clear. It's up to the individual to turn this stuff off, and they can. They can go into their profile on the different platforms and turn this stuff off. Most people don't. They don't know about it. And people who viewed my video or people who filled in my lead form or people who liked my Facebook page or people who engaged with Instagram, yada, yada. You guys know how this sort of stuff is. But can you see that you're not manually putting in all the descriptions of the people? You're allowing the pixel to just collect everybody and send them to you, basically. So that's one kind of, that's a custom audience. A lookalike audience says, I want you to look at either a custom audience or a saved audience or somebody who engaged with my video or went to my website, and I want you to create a stranger audience. So this is a different way of targeting. Let's say that you have a target audience of small businesses that in finance and accounting, B2B type of small businesses in your local area, in your council area, or in your part of your constituents. What you'll want to do is create a custom audience for the people who live in the area and engaged with you, and then ask the algorithm to go and find people who look like the people that engaged with you, but who don't yet know about you. So this is not FOAF. This is not friend of a friend. That's a different section of the algorithm. This is one that just simply Facebook looks at you and says, oh, Laurel, she likes social media and she likes tech and she plays way too much World of Warcraft. And she shops at the local Blue Mountains, blah, blah, supermarket and at the farmer's market. And they know all that sort of stuff about me because my phone dobs me in and my credit card dobs me in and everything like that. And then they'll go and find other people in the area that look like me, but I don't necessarily know. So it's not FOAF, it's not friend of a friend, it's not the social graph or the economic graph or any of those things that work, okay? And then the special ad audience, again, this is going to be for real estate, socio-economic type things. We run into trouble when I'm working with non-profits around housing, really anything to do with non-profits, because we're part of the target. Some of the targeting is to fundraising, and then some of the targeting is to the people that actually need the services. It becomes tricky because the algorithm, the companies don't like, really want to manage what's being targeted to people. So as an example, I think they're pretty strict now on those no sign-up credit cards, and then having them targeted to people who use coupons and have a low income and live in particular areas and have particular kind of jobs. So they're going to be extremely careful about that. It comes under, I think it's financial services or credit, sorry. So anything to do with credit you need to be careful of. And the issue here for obviously ministers of parliament and for councils is sometimes you have to tell local people about services around homelessness or food boxes, or it doesn't matter what it is, and you just have to do the dance. Okay, so just make sure you've got your verified accounts, that you've done your disclaimers, you've done all that kind of stuff. The same with housing. They discovered that real estate agents were directing traffic to white Christian Caucasians that had mid to senior level positions within certain companies, because they couldn't possibly have gay people showing up to buy the house, or black people or brown people or whatever. And the same with jobs. You don't want your jobs hyper targeted, because that would be problematic for HR. And you'd be amazed what I've seen. Anyway, where are we at? Only a few minutes left. Or a pair of sneakers. Penny, what are you talking about? What did I say? Did I say something about shoes? What kind of shoes are they? All right. So there's those audiences. So we talked about targeting audiences through the whole page, which is preferred audience. Make sure you're on topic, that you don't deviate and go into other audiences stuff. That's how you resolve the preferred audience issue. Use Creator Studio and go in and manually create audiences for posts. You have to do it each time unless they bring it in. Unless they bring in saved audiences. Thirdly, create your saved audiences and then boost your posts properly. Don't just slap a few bucks down on a post from within the page. Actually go into Ads Manager. Actually set it up. And I tell you what I'm going to do. Next Thursday, same time, which would be 1 p.m. Sydney time, I will... what am I going to do? I will do boosted posts for Gov. And that thing that I quickly showed you, which you'll probably be fine with, but I know that people often have questions, so you can bring them to me next Thursday. I will go in and create the boosted posts for government with the pre-set up audiences so that you can actually see the next stage. This was not about you giving Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn money. I'm perfectly fine with you not doing that. It is about understanding how the psychographics split out and the targeting works, and that it's on all kinds of things, including, the third-party partner data, like do they like their ciggies, and do they watch, what's that Joe Tiger thing on Netflix, or like Queen's Gambit on Netflix, or whatever it is, whatever's popular at the time. I just want to reiterate something here because it's an error that I often see. Let's just go back into this one again. Let's get rid of me. You must do the URL contains, sign up for email, whatever it is, the call to action, the CTA, but it must also match that the URL does not contain thank you or whatever your exit page is. There is nothing sillier than advertising to people who've already done the action that you want them to take. Like, don't do that. If I've already signed up for your political town hall debate Zoom thing on Tuesday lunchtime, whatever it is, if I've already signed up and I've already got to the thank you page that sends me the details of my booking, Why on earth am I getting ads for it later on? Now, you could do that, but I would change the ad to, thanks for signing up. Don't forget to invite a friend. Whatever the new call to action would be. Yeah. So we went through saved audiences, which you can use for boosting posts properly. We talked about custom audiences, which is your email newsletter list or people that visited your website. We looked at stranger audiences, which are not friend of a friend, the social graph, but actually a complete stranger who looks like the people who meet certain criteria. I think you can only go to 10% at the moment. I'm not sure. And then special ad audiences if you're specifically targeting homeless people or real estate ads, credit ads, employment ads. And I suspect education may come in there later on as well. I'm starting to see more limitations around universities and things like that. I think there are other audiences, but we've hit 2:00. So if you have any more questions, hey guys, thanks for commenting. I appreciate it. A1, Katrina, Stephen, Ivan, Chase. Hi, Chase. And Penny, and Gary, and anybody else I've missed, I'm sorry. Okay. This is the lecture. I do the lectures on Thursdays at 1:00. On Monday mornings, Sydney time, around 10:45, I do the news for the week, social media news for the week. After the lectures, I do tutorials, but they're private. And so I have private groups for tutorials, or I have private one-on-ones and things like that. I'm speaking to those people now. You need to fill in the sheets. So having watched this video all the way through, double yay, now get your sheets and fill it in. Where do they shop? What schools? What online services do they use? Cigarette smoking. I don't care what. I need to stop saying cigarette smoking because we can't target them anyway, and you get smacked if you try to do it. Yoga, Pilates, Apple Mac products. I don't know, whatever it is. Fill in those sheets so that we can work through them, because we're going to create our audiences, we're going to tweak them, we're going to save them. When we go into boosting posts properly, which is in the next session, what you'll notice is as you tweak your audiences, don't forget to give it the 10 days to 14 days, you'll get more bang for your buck. In other words, you'll get to reach more people and you'll get more engagement for less money. Absolutely. And you'll also start to understand your audiences better, because the algorithms do an A/B testing. And so we can probably talk about that. If not on next Thursday, then maybe the one after that, where we look at analytics. So next Thursday is boosting a post, and then probably the Thursday after that, lecture-wise, is going to be looking at the analytics and knowing how to read the analytics, because it's all very well to put a spreadsheet together and send it off to someone, but you need to know what are the call to actions. I love numbers, but we do not live on numbers alone. I hope you found this interesting. It's a longer session and more in depth, but I'm used to teaching a whole day, but I'm definitely used to teaching 1 hour lectures at university podiums and things like that. So for me, this is like pretty normal. If you're finding it hard to work through, bookmark this video, come back to it later. I'm not going to ask you to subscribe, I'm not asking you to comment or anything like that. Just bookmark it and save it for later. It will be on a playlist. The playlist will be, or album, whatever you want to call it, will be in the description, and you'll be able to get to the other ones if you're not able to make it next Thursday. All right, guys. It's suddenly turned very hot here. Lunchtime, 2:00 on a Sunday in Sydney, and it's summer on the 14th of January 2021, a historic day. And if you were able to tear yourself away from the TV and the impeachment and everything, I much appreciate you joining me here today. And I will see you Monday for social media news, Thursday for social media lectures. That's it. I'm going to love you and leave you.